Good morning, good afternoon. Thanks everyone for joining. My name is Ryan, working here at Crow Canyon. Goofy guy in the picture here at the bottom. Today we are going to be talking about, you know, obviously the tagline of the webinar today is keep your remote workforce engaged with Office 365 Teams and SharePoint. And really the goal is to leverage your SharePoint environment, whether you're online or on-premise, as your platform of choice, as your one-stop shop digital workplace, right? Kind of all the buzzwords there, because really, I mean, you have that ability within your space. You've invested in this Office 365 environment. You've invested in the SharePoint server. Why use other third-party tools to manage and maintain things from, right? Maybe ERP system, sure, but why not populate that data from an ERP system into your Office 365 space? Why not leverage what these tools have to create an entire business process platform within your environment, right? You have a lot of advantages there. Managing, single sign-on, right? You don't have to provide multiple passwords and logins to your employees. Keeping everyone self-contained in one space, so it's controlled by groups and permissions as opposed to, just managing each application independently, right? So it's going to take the load off of your staff and let you run things a little bit more efficiently internally. And we've been building to this point through a series of webinars, this Keep Your Remote Workforce Engaged webinar. And through the webinar series, we've touched on our different out-of-the-box applications, right? So we have these different, I was clicked on the slide deck, there we go. So we have these different out-of-the-box tools that we offer both online and on-premise. Okay, so whether it's, Office 365, SharePoint on-prem 2013, 2016, 2019, we have these tools ready and raring to go that are deployed within your online environment or your on-prem environment. So anything from IT help desk to asset tracking, all the way down to purchasing, and this idea of a self-service portal. So really the self-service portal, for those who've sat on our other webinars, the idea is that it's the tip of the spear. Where do I send my end users to submit requests to other departments within the organization, right? So we want to give them a single pane of glass, a one-stop shop intended to give them the information that they need at their fingertips, whether it's viewing knowledge-based articles or submitting requests to those various departments. They know where they're supposed to go, and they know the information that they can get from that space. It's something that's also growing with inside of the Crow Canyon space, as well as really in Microsoft as a whole, especially in the online environment, is this Teams concept. Interacting with Teams is kind of a replacement for Skype, but also having all of this cool functionality added on to the team space. And we're starting to really play heavily into that space now with AI bots, Teams bots, a Q&A maker, being able to request knowledge-based articles from an AI support bot within your Teams channel, which does things like give you the ability to limit support staff, not have someone actively working the chat channel when you could refer to an AI bot first. We also have a support bot, which means you can update, back-end items or departmental list items from a Teams chat as well. Update support tickets, update HR requests from your Teams channel as well. And then we can even take it a step further, meaning like when a request is created or someone wants to notify the entire team, you can actually send a Teams message from our environment as well. So it gives you the ability to kind of leverage everything within the 365 space. And that's going to be the recurring theme of today, of our half an hour webinar of how can we best leverage our Office 365 or SharePoint space using these Crow Canyon tool sets. So, we talked about SharePoint. We talked about Teams, and Outlook, I guess, is the other big one too, right? So having requests be created via email, communicating via email, and have them automatically tying to back-end departments. It's just another example of how we can take advantage of the platform you're already using within our environment, right? So that's kind of the tagline, the header of today's webinar. And we're going to show, as I work my way through the webinar today, I'm going to show you some interactions with our application. So we will get to some product demo, but I wanted to set that first of kind of the overview of what we're going to be discussing today. One other thing, though, I want to touch on, and it's a big one, is how are these applications architected? What are they built on top of, right? Obviously, SharePoint is the backbone to a lot of what Office 365 does from a document management space. And Microsoft has heavily evangelized the Power Platform, Forms, Power Automate, Flow, I guess what used to be called, as well as Power Apps. Well, we go a little bit of a different route. We use something called Nitro Studio. and that's Crow Canyon built and designed. So it's all, everything that we offer, we built, design, and maintain internally. And what it is, it's a forms tool, it's a reporting tool, it's a workflow tool, it's this portal that I discussed recently, AI services like we talked about in the team space, all the way down to list search, list view, printing, branding, really anything that you could think that you could need to build an application with is inside of the Nitro Studio. All right, so this is something that we've been, leveraging and growing for quite some time. And it's really come into its own within the last couple of years. So we even feel comfortable enough to offer Nitro Studio as a standalone, meaning like, hey, look, we have all these applications that we offer out of the box that you're seeing on the screen. If you want to take Nitro Studio and build something, unique with it, specific to your organization, you absolutely have the ability to do so. Nitro Studio in its purest intention is to be an info path replacement. But what you can do is really leverage your 365 or SharePoint environment with it. So InfoPath is strictly forms. With the Nitro tool set and Studio, you have the ability to take it even farther, leveraging workflows and reporting, like I've already said. And the cool thing here is that we're not charging you on a per form or a per workflow basis. So once you have Nitro installed within your tenancy, you can really take it and run with it as much as you'd like. That goes for as a standalone, also as the backbone of the applications. And that's really the kicker. So we have this awesome application creation studio, right? Nitro Studio, this tool set that also underlines all of our applications, and it's included in the application side as well. So you have all this functionality that goes into, or that can go into creating these cool custom applications inside of the pre-built application. Because honestly, I mean, I talk to customers on a day-to-day basis, clients of ours, about all of these out-of-the-box applications, right? And no one's business process is the same, right? No two companies are alike. That's just the nature of the business. Anyone who tells you different is lying to you. You know what I mean? So what we're doing, or the really cool part about Nitro Studio, is we're giving you the ability to make these templates, these applications specific to you. And I feel like that's a really big plus over like maybe another third-party tool or trying to build something from the ground up, is now you have a foot to stand on, an out-of-the-box tool that's going to get you 85% of the way there, 90% of the way there, maybe. Or maybe you have a really complex approval process and it's only 80% of the way there out of the box. We're giving you this Nitro platform as an add-on. Really, it's included, but I think it's a really cool add-on feature that gives you the ability to create and manage and maintain your own application, give you the true ownership of that application within your environment. So I really like it. It gives us the ability to support the applications easier, right? We own it, we operate it, we can regulate it. So it gives us the ability to turn around response times on support questions. And it also gives us the ability to keep the price cost effective, right? We're not charging on, like I said, on a per user or per form or a per workflow basis. So you're more on that set cost mentality versus, well, this month it could be one thing and this month it could be another. Okay. Self-service portal, applications, Nitro Studio. Now, how do I use them, right? So really in my mind, I see it like this. We've been talking about a lot of this has come up recently, more and more recently, talking to a lot of people about this mentality. And I know it looks hectic here, but I'm going to explain it in a second. But bundling our different applications together, creating a service desk within inside of your 365 or SharePoint space is top of mind right now, based on the current, national environment. A lot of us are working remotely. A lot of companies are shifting to more and more remote work. And now the question is, well, how do I engage my remote workforce? Tagline. See, I told you I'd come back around on it. How do I get information from us to them quickly, effectively, and easily? You already have 365 in place. Let's take some of these applications and make them make sense. So the first one that we talk about is this help desk bundle. And I think really the idea here is that you can bundle these different applications, whether it's cross departments or for a specific department. So, right, we talked about these standalone applications, right, just like we were in the last slide. But now when we bundle them, they can be department specific. So maybe IT wants to keep everything internal to IT, meaning their own help desk, their own asset tracking system, their own project management system, their own purchasing requests, their own contract management, right? Those can all be pointed towards IT, you know what I mean? Tracking assets, easy, obvious, an obvious example. But IT projects, Maybe it's a software release. Maybe it's a hardware upgrade, right? And now it's become just more than a change request within the IT help desk, but it's become a project that has multiple people involved and needs to be maintained at a more granular level. Maybe you get a hardware request in the IT help desk, and it has to go through a purchasing approval process. And instead of trying to manage that, in a ticket, make a ticket what it's not, you can rope in our purchase request application. And with purchasing, you can manage and maintain the purchase request to the purchase order or from the purchase request, the approval process to the purchase order, all within its own space. And the reason that I say own space is really what I'm saying is permissioned appropriately, right? I say own space, and in my mind, that means role-based permissions, allowing people to see things that they're supposed to see, right? Maybe the IT help desk is pointed, or just the ticketing system is pointed at multiple groups, and the permissions around tickets aren't as stringent because information needs to be passed from group to group within the IT help desk space. Well, maybe purchasing, only certain members of the IT team need to see it, or certain members of your purchasing team need to be allowed to that area, but not everyone within IT. Putting these in different sites gives us the ability to manage and maintain those role-based permissions. And then when the purchase order is created, or purchase order is approved, delivered, you can actually create an asset from that purchasing application as well. So it kind of comes back full circle, right? Same with contracts. Assets have contracts, warranties, leases associated with them. They can all be managed and maintained within the IT space. The same goes for work orders, right? Same idea. Equipment tracking, projects within your facilities or work orders team that you want to manage, maintain, purchasing things, HVAC systems, maybe vehicles, have their own leases or warranties associated with them. Again, it gives you the ability to make those applications specific to that department. So it's more of like a departmental bundle, right? We call it a help desk bundle or a work order bundle. But then you also have the ability to create, to reach a more broader audience, I guess is the better way to say it, right? Okay, so maybe it's not specific to IT and you want to have a contract management space where your contracts team can work within. Awesome. You have that ability to create that customer support contract management application within your 365 space, and your contracts team can work out of it. But it also gives you the ability to have both, right? You have a contract specific to IT, and then you also have a contract management application specific to the entire organization or towards the contract management team. So pricing these on a per site basis, keeping everyone based on or having those role-based permissions gives you the ability to really control the environment and can allow people to see what they want. And then the other idea here is this service desk bundle. A lot of conversations I have with our clients about a help desk, and I think help desk is kind of misleading, is because they come in and we have our initial discussions and we talk about, okay, this ticketing system's awesome. I really am excited to work with it, but I also want to have my HR team involved, or I also want to have my marketing team involved. Again, I'm going to bring it back to that permission perspective, because whenever you have HR involved, the permissions are always going to be stringent, right? They want their data specific to them, not to be seen by anybody else. And when you're working in the same tickets list or within the same space, within the same dashboards, you really have to be airtight. Now we can help you set up permissions and the implementation of the application as a part of the deployment process. But in my opinion, it's always just easier to have them in their own site. They manage their own space. The permissions are specific to the HR team. Because then if you have multiple groups within HR, it just gets sticky. So the idea is that, again, leveraging that self-service portal, your employees come in, they can submit a request to IT, a ticket, a work order ticket, an HR request, customer support request, a marketing request, right? An onboarding request, maybe that's related to HR, all from one page, and then it gets routed or all from one landing spot, and then it gets routed to the appropriate backend department. So to the end users, you're providing a unified front. Hey, here's this easy space to submit a ticket through. But on the back end, you have this application layer, the service desk layer, where it's all permissioned appropriately. Everyone can see things specific to them. Everyone's in their own self-contained area. And then you could even above that, one layer above that, even leverage the self-service portal, but make it specific to management. Maybe management wants to see tickets across all the departments. Maybe they want to see reports across all the departments, right? So now what you're doing is building this complex structure, and you're not having to leave the comfy benefit or the comfy home of your 365 environment, right? It's all self-contained, and you have a workspace really for anyone who needs it. Self-service for your end users, roll-up dashboards for management teams, and then departmental sites, applications, workspaces, dashboards for those departmental workers. So it really becomes it's a really cool space to work within, and you don't have to worry about permissions and people seeing what they're not supposed to, all within inside of your 365 environment. So now when we look at this from a departmental level, here we go. That's what I'm trying to do. We have our employee portal, like we talked about, right? So if I toggle back and forth between the PowerPoint and our demonstration here, we have our self-service portal. Looks a little like this. Now this is branding specific to us. All of the branding, anything you see here is controlled by that Nitro Studio platform that I was talking about. So you have the ability to make changes to it from a branding perspective to a forms perspective. But they have the ability, they being your end users, to submit access requests, HR requests, hardware, right? IT, work order, purchase, knowledge base, all from one spot, right? They know I go here and this is where I submit my request through. Leveraging their 365 logon, it's going to pull in information specific to them, right? I mean, as my admin account. It's going to populate information from their account for them. They can submit their category and ticket type. Well, let's just do IT. Let's say hardware request. Say desktop. No, we want a laptop. We're working remote. Need new laptop. They can give you information for remote work. They can include attachments. Probably need a title in here for it to save. They can screenshot images, etc. They hit save. They get the warm and fuzzies here saying item created successfully. Okay, I know my ticket's been submitted. And then they actually get routed to the View My Tickets tab, which is cool because we're leveraging those role-based permissions. Right now we're seeing it live. Okay, this ticket has gone to the back-end IT team, but I can see my status of all my tickets here on this page. Okay, who's assigned to them? Where do we stand? Have they left me any notes? Do I need to do anything specifically to this particular ticket? Or, or am I good? Right? So it gives them the ability, gives you the ability to provide that extra layer of communication between whatever department they're working with and your end users, right? They also have the ability to search KB articles, right? Now, this is leveraging, again, our portal. This is highly customizable, but they can also see, KB articles that you make accessible to them. Maybe they want to search something related to password, right? And it's going to show them articles related to password. Now, what they can also do is leverage that team spot I was talking about, this Q&A maker, okay, and say, what do I need to do? What do I need help with? Okay, I need help in IT. Now I have it set up for IT here, but this could be any of your departments, right? The ones we were just talking about, and we'll give our Q&A maker the same prompt here. Forgot password. And now what this is going to do, it's going to find all of those articles that we just searched on the self-service portal and present it here in the Teams chat, all reading from that backend KB article library. Boom. 4 that was suggested here, right, are now in Teams. And the cool part is that they can actually still submit a ticket from here as well. So yeah, what we're doing is we're prompting them to look at these articles first, because some end users read articles and some don't, right? Just the nature of the business. But what they can do is say, okay, my issue's been resolved. That can give you the ability to report on the effectiveness of the AI bot. You want to try something else, enter more details, submit a ticket, start over, right? It gives you that reporting functionality, like I said, specific to the bot, or they can submit a ticket. And really what we're doing is it's providing them a guided experience in this case. So maybe the self-service portal is self-service, right? Submit tickets across departments, view KB articles on their own. And maybe the bot's a little bit more guided. Hey, this is what you need to do. This is what you should do. This is what you can do. I mean, really what we're doing is we're getting them to look at the KB article library and submit a ticket by collecting their information, but they don't know that, right? All they see is this fun interface in Teams. I don't want to use that portal. I'd rather do it here. And it gives them that ability as well. Now the portal is still very functional for those on a premise, so you still have that ability to build in role-based permissions, search articles, etc. So you really have both options here. And then the third interaction with end users is the email integration, right? Maybe they want to send a ticket into HR requests at yourorganization.com or support at yourorg.com. They still have that ability as well. So really trying to extend those fingers out into the environment. And just briefly, I'm not going to go too far into this, but if you do want to take a deeper dive into Nitro, the portal, or any of the applications, do reach out. I'd be happy to do a private demo. We'll spend an hour specifically on the tool set themselves. So if you're interested, that's how the route I'd go down that personalized demo. But if you have, again, the proper permissions, I'm going to say it a lot, you can come in here and make changes to the portal itself. Header, footer, the menu section they see at the top. Maybe you don't want to offer a service catalog, you can remove it. Maybe you want to change the portal pages around or change the portal forms. You have that ability here as well. Now, once the request is submitted, right, it gets pushed to that back-end department, right? So in this case, it's IT. An IT ticket is created. You have different workspaces. If you're a manager, you can get routed to your manager's dashboard, and you can see things that are a little bit more report heavy, right? Overdue tickets, live reports. Oh, sorry, they haven't loaded yet. Give me a second here. I'm talking too fast. Live reports, on the application itself, okay, staff load by ticket, open tickets by category and priority, right? Specific to IT, unassigned tickets, etc. But then you can see it also has connection to our assets tool, our contract management tool, right? So now we've built in those. This is, an example of something we built in specifically for this demo or for for these demo purposes, but it gives you the ability to connect those applications together all from one screen. So these are actually their own sites, permissions specifically, but now we've made them available to the people who have proper access to view them. So you can work a ticket just like normal, but then let's say I drill down into assets. Leveraging our forms tool, Nitro Studio, you have the ability to connect information into a SharePoint list item, so in this case, an asset, from multiple site collections from multiple sites and roll them into one view. So I'm in a Nitro form, I'm in a Crow Canyon form. This is something, again, that's customizable, specific to you. So maybe if some of these columns don't line up to what you want to do, you have the ability to come in and change them. But then if we look at our related items tab, you can see all tickets related to this asset. You can see all manuals related to this asset, change requests and problems in the IT help desk if you want them, and also contracts. So now we have these three separate applications: IT help desk, asset management, contract management, all in their own space, managed and permissioned, in their own way. But now they're all rolled up into one view. I'm in an asset, and I can easily pull that information from site to site without having to go to another tool, without having to leverage, another login, right? It's all visible right from here, related tickets. And if I click on it, it actually pulls up that form for me. I can see that open ticket without having to do anything else. Okay, now I'm in the ticket. I looked at this asset, I see an issue. Maybe it's a server issue and I have to go through an upgrade, and it becomes more than a ticket. Well, we have these things called custom actions. And for those of you who are not familiar with them, they're manually invoked workflows. So we have some automated workflows that we've kind of glossed over. I can go back and touch on them, but automatically creating a list item. When we were in that portal, we submitted a ticket and it created a ticket on the back end and it notified the appropriate backend department, right? That's the automated workflow. When this item is saved, when this item is modified, updated, when something happens from this workflow. So when this ticket was created, we notified the IT team, we notified the end user, we created this item, and here it is. Now, these custom actions give us the ability to fire off these workflows at a date and time cadence of our choosing, or a time of our choosing, I should say. So now I've identified this as a project. I can hit the Create Project button. This is in its own site, right? So if I come to my main demo site page here, I have the project management application in its own space, all right, in its own site, the best way to say it. I can create a new project from here, or I can do it from the IT space, right? Form looks similar to the one we have here. Oh, didn't mean to do that, but you guys get the idea. So now I'm in my own site, I'm in my own space creating a project, just like I would from the IT space, connecting your different applications together. And that can go really for any of the tools that we offer, like I was showing in the original PowerPoint slide. So creating and managing projects can be tied to IT, assets can be tied to IT, contracts can be tied to IT, or they can be bundled separately. Maybe you have your own help desk system and you're not looking to replace it, but you want to tie assets to purchases and contracts. That's also a possibility as well. So if I'm in the purchase order system, we've gone through, we've created a purchase request, it's gone through its approval process, it becomes a purchase order, And then I can view my purchase orders. It's been fulfilled. I can create an asset from here. Click on any one of these guys, right? Create asset. Maybe not on coffee. It's probably a bad example. Here you go, laptop. Probably a little bit better example. Right, I want to create these assets. I want to turn these 3 Dell laptops into assets. Leveraging those custom actions, I have the ability to do so. Now, as long as I have the proper permission, right, we make sure that happens, but no, there's that asset form like we were just viewing in the asset application. So again, I know I'm kind of beating the dead horse a little bit here, but the idea is that these are their own entities, right? So we come back to this main page. These are their own entities, but they're all interconnected. They're all intertwined, and you have the ability to really pick and choose what makes sense for you, right? Your IT is looking for a complete solution. Fantastic. Tie all these together. Tie the ones pertinent to you together. Your work order team, your facilities team is trying to build and maintain a work order system. Great. Tie these applications together. Fantastic. So now, or I'm sorry, last point, all your service desks, HR, marketing, et cetera, you want them to be, in their own space. You also have that ability. Now, the other route, this custom route, right? So maybe these out-of-the-box applications don't work. They're not specific to anything that you guys are doing internally. The other option is Nitro Studio, these Nitro apps. I'm going to pull up the interface here. And we go down more of the solution outlook. Right, so I'm going to pull my presentation back up. So we talked about the applications and how they can be bundled together, right? But let's talk a little bit more about solutions, right? In my opinion, they're a little bit different. Applications are like I talked about, 85 to 90% of the way they're out of the box. We're going to tweak that last 10, 15 to 20% to make it make sense for your organization, but they're basically plug and play, ready to go. Now these solutions, onboarding, purchasing, maybe facilities, right, are a little bit more. Well, in my experience, the clients and customers that we work with, from large manufacturing companies to shipping companies to government purchasing companies, right? Those solutions are more specific to them. And maybe what we offer out of the box doesn't quite fit what they need, right? And it's going to become a leveraging what we have out of the box and a custom job, right? So taking what we have and making it make sense for you. What's nice here is that, or I'm going to be a little bit of an advocate for application companies, is that if you were to bring in like a consultant to build this for you, right? There's no support around that. There's no architecture on how the application was built. There's no rhyme or reason as to why it was built or to what tools that they were using to build it. So taking advantage of someone like us who has this cool tool set to build applications with, has examples in place already of how we build applications successfully. It gives you kind of that, I don't know, from the customer feedback that I've gotten, it gives us the ability to leverage best practices that we've used with other companies to build the solution specific to your organization, right? So we're not starting from scratch. It's not something we haven't done before. We have the tools in place. We've built applications ourselves. We've built applications for customers using our tools. And now we have that ability to leverage all that knowledge and create a solution specific to you. And then we use the Nitro Studio to do so. Sorry, a little tongue-tied. So from, I think purchasing and onboarding are more solutions in my mind, right? Everyone's a little different in how they manage purchasing or how they manage onboarding, or facilities, right? A full facilities maintenance management system. But this is the tool set that we use to build it. So some of those out-of-the-box applications, but creating forms, creating workflows, creating reports, leveraging that Power Portal, it's all available in this Nitro Studio tool set. And again, if this is something you're interested in, I'll briefly show you the forms. I could spend hours just on this form alone, the forms tool alone, the cool features, how it can really give you a cool work set within your organization. But if you want to learn tongue-tied again. If you want to learn more, if you want to know more, set up a private demo. But the idea is that these forms are customizable as you want them to be. Drag and drop. Oh, that item already exists. Drag and dropping SharePoint columns into this form, changing the the layout, the UI, how it's designed, how it looks and feels. Red's probably a little too much. That's right. There you go. But gives you the ability to create theme specific to your organization, right? Create your own form theme, font, if you have your own font for your organization, have your own color scheme, you have the ability to have that applied all the way across your organization, right? Any form that you go with Nitro Studio can all look and feel the same. So we have in my mind, it really breaks down to 3 different layers: look and feel, SharePoint specific, creating columns, adding columns to forms, putting permissions on those tabs or columns, form event actions, column validations, right? All the way down to the developer level, that 3rd tier. So leveraging external data sources, pulling information in from that ERP system, from that invoicing system into the purchase request tool. So we don't have to have duplicate data. Having a e-signature piece on your forms. So instead of having to use like DocuSign or something else, you can have people sign your SharePoint forms using our signature pad settings. Injecting custom JavaScript on the form load through a script action button or submit action button. Injecting custom CSS into the form. You really can take it and run with it, right? So it's not just a basic SharePoint design from that perspective. You can really leveraging the forms tool, the workflow tool, and our REST API services in our workflow tool. Now you have the ability, even if you have some other third-party tools that you're using that you can't get away from, like I was saying, ERP or etc. Now what you do is you have the ability to pull it all into SharePoint easy and seamlessly, right? So instead of having to duplicate data entry and you want to use Office 365 or SharePoint on-prem as the platform of choice, you can easily set this up to pull that information from outside the organization into your SharePoint environment. So that's what we give you with the Nitro Studio. That's what we give you with the out-of-the-box applications. That's the goal here. Create, a digital workplace for your organization inside of the platform that you're already leveraging. And my goal is to keep this right around half an hour. And we're right at the half an hour mark. Like I said, if you do want to, if you're interested in any of the applications, really, I mean, a good starting point is we've done an entire webinar series on these tools over the last 5-6 weeks. So I definitely would go in and check those out. But if you want to do a private demo, feel free to reach out to us, sales@crowcanyon.com. Both myself and Scott manage to maintain that inbox. We'd be happy to set up a private demo for you. But if you have questions, now's the time to throw those out there. Be happy to answer them. Scott, did we get anything come in on the question line?
No, nothing right now. You probably did a good job of explaining everything, but sometimes it's hard to put questions into a webinar to think a little bit about it. But like you were saying, it's very important to, if you're interested, to get in touch, with Ryan or myself, and we can show you a demo one-on-one that will go into depth about either Nitro Studio itself or one of these individual applications or even bundles of these applications. We have a lot of interest in what's going on with these and how they can bring business process automation and efficiency. And especially interesting is kind of the leading edge stuff of these Teams bots and Teams integration. If you're on Office 365, is attracting a lot of interest also. But of course, we do SharePoint on premises too. So, it's SharePoint on premises 2013, 2016, 2019, as well as the Microsoft Office and where that's going with our applications, Nitro Studio, and the Teams integration. We are doing a webinar next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, specifically on Teams integration. And 2 weeks from tomorrow, we're doing a webinar on government. If you're in government, any government agency anywhere in the world, any level, we're doing a webinar on government in two weeks from tomorrow. So we're really pushing the business process automation as much as possible to every organization out there that can use this, and I think most can, especially with the remote workforce and the use of cloud-based services like Office 365 and Teams.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I saw, if someone would have told me 2 years ago even that Teams was going to pass Slack for a user count, I probably would have laughed at them. But I saw something today where Teams had now passed Slack in terms of total users. So it's definitely at the forefront. Microsoft's pushing it hard, and we're right on that cutting edge, like Scott said. So I would heavily suggest checking out that Teams webinar next week. It's super cool. I got an inside peek of what's coming, and it's definitely worth having a look and how it interacts with our applications thereafter.
That's right. That's right. And the government one, we're just going to put that webinar up probably today and get that so people can sign up for that one in 2 weeks. So very active. Now we're not going to shows. Ryan and I have a lot of time to sit around doing webinars. We're not traveling on the road anywhere, so we're doing a lot of webinars and a lot of talking to our customers, and it's a good alternative experience. And always going out to whatever. We're supposed to be going to Las Vegas next week for that big show that got canceled. So we have a lot of time now to interact and engage with our customers through Skype, not Skype. What am I talking about? My mind just went back a few years through Teams and GoToMeeting and whatever else way we can interact with you virtually.
Yeah, and I think, Scott, you can tell by Scott's enthusiasm in his voice. This is really a passion project for us. We love talking about 365 and Teams. We're kind of nerds in that perspective. So if you have any questions related to that, to 365, where it's going, Teams and where it's going, reach out anyway. We'd love to chat with you about it and get your perspective on maybe the downfalls of the Power Platform, or how you're using it effectively, or how you're using Teams effectively, or maybe where you could use it a little bit more efficiently. We just love to have those any of those conversations. So whether it's Crow Canyon specific or not, feel free to shoot a contact out to us. We'd be happy to chat.
Sounds good.
Great.
All right.
Well, thanks everyone. Appreciate it, Scott. Thanks for hopping on. And
Yeah.
we'll talk to everyone soon, hopefully.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan.